Hey y'all. I meant to have my little 30-second thing so I could do my little countdown, but I clicked the wrong button. So I'm just gonna go with it and turn on the music. All right. I see Susan is here already. Hey Susan. So I'm inviting y'all to dance with me for a minute. You don't have to move a whole lot, just move a little bit. And while we're waiting for people to show up, if you want to leave a comment and let me know your peaches and pits from the week, something that made you feel really good, something that you enjoyed. And then if you want to leave a pit, something that kind of pissed you off, something that made you feel bad, whatever, you go right ahead. And while y'all are thinking about that and typing in, I will go ahead and tell y'all about the group and talk to you about my meditator for tonight, my friend. Oh my gosh, y'all are gonna be so excited. Y'all are gonna be so mellow when this is over. I cannot wait to see what he's gonna do. All right, so y'all know me. My name is Cecile. I am the founder and creator of this group, Meditations for Persistence. Tonight, not only are we live in the group, we're also live on LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn this music off so I can actually talk for a minute because as much as I didn't like this in the beginning, I'd just be jamming to it now on Sundays. All right. Forgetting that little 30-second countdown has really thrown me off today. But hey, y'all, I see there's more people that are showing up. I'm excited to see you here. You can pop in and say hello. Let me know where you are. You can also hop in on the comments and write down, let us know your peaches and pits, something really good, something that was a peach for you last week, something that was a pit that did not feel so good, something that's bothering you. And I'll start my intro over. I am Cecile Armstrong. I am the creator and founder of this group, this Facebook group. Tonight, we are streaming live on YouTube and LinkedIn as well. I am so glad to have you here. For those of you who are not part of the Facebook group, we invite you to join. We do these Sunday meditations at 8 o'clock, and we also talk about human rights and social justice issues throughout the week and give each other support. And we talk about, ways that we can make a difference in whatever is going on in our communities. Whew. Oh, Susan said she made her first bouquets from the garden and took a walk. Oh my gosh, amazing. I don't know if I can tell. Can I tell your business, Susan? I know you had hip surgery, so I'm so happy that you got out and took a walk. All right. Hey, Mary Elizabeth. Hey, Cynthia. I see you are coming in from Asheville, North Carolina. Awesome. Hey, Tiffany. Your daughter's flying home right now. Oh, I'm sorry you're feeling kind of blah, but I'm glad that your daughter's going to be with you. All right. Now, Mary Elizabeth is checking in from Madison, Wisconsin. Excellent. All right. So, most of you guys that are here already know about the group, but for anybody who's watching who doesn't know, we are a group of activists or people learning how to be activists or people who are just concerned about human rights. We understand that who we are at home, in our jobs, with our friends, in our politics, with our spirituality, don't need to be separate things because we are all of those things in one body. And when we're together, we are all of those things in community. And so we don't need to separate who we are. When we silo those parts of ourselves, that's when we stop living in alignment and start compromising our values to fit in. Um, and so if you stand up for social justice, when you hear about injustice and you really want to make equity a habit so that you live in a way that challenges those systems in your daily interactions and in the way you move in the different organizations that you belong to, so that you make people see inequality where it exists and you also give them space and permission to think differently, then I invite you to check out my online membership. It's called Inspired by Indigo, and you can find it at my website, which is just my name, CecileArmstrong.com, SACIL Armstrong.com. And every month we follow 4 pillars that make equity a habit. And those 4 pillars are: number 1, self-care because healing is a form of protest. Our society is set up to make us go, 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 have us focus on doing. And when we stop and start being and start healing ourselves, that increases our capacity to do everything else. Number two, know your facts because that's how you undo missing lives. So don't go on what you thought you know from what's passed down from your family. Find the source documents, figure out how these systems work, figure out our history so that you can actually take action based on facts instead of things you think you know, things somebody told you, outright lies. Number three is undoing the work. That means undoing everything that we've learned and lived about race, oppression, and equality. That means actually doing something with the knowledge that you have and with all that capacity and space that you created with your self care. Go out and do something to make the world better. And then number four, rest and celebrate to avoid burnout and disillusionment. And this is how you sustain yourself. And this is how you sustain the cause. And so, y'all know, I have been talking about bringing on new people into the group to help lead the Sunday meditations and lead our discussions in the group on self care and social justice. And I am so excited to bring on my friend, my colleague, my brother, Ade Anifowose. All right, he is an intuitive healer, mindset coach, sacred drummer, and a podcaster. He has a unique way of bringing his clients to a place of self acceptance and self compassion. He uses his intuitive abilities to access deeper wisdom and move his clients and audience from their current reality to where they want to be. Ade's teaching is rooted in the understanding that we are the faces of our ancestors. They live in us and we live in them. He believes that real transformation happens when we are willing to go within and do the necessary healing work. Otherwise, we're simply living from a mindset of separation in the realm of oneness. Ade says everything is connected and it all belongs. His mission is to assist people in bridging the gap between the shadow and the light. Ade is currently writing his memoir, which chronicles his hero's journey of displacement, belonging, and identity. His website is lifecoachade, that's ADE, .com, and you can follow him on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Life Coach Ade. Hey,
Hey,
all
hey,
right.
hey.
People are saying welcome.
Hey, hey, hey. Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for allowing me into this space.
Glad to have you. Look, we got
Listen, the
so
fact
much,
is,
so much, so much feminism up in here. Glad to have a man in the space.
I know. I'm aware of that, and I'm like, in part of my, okay, remember. It's just, no, not that. I mean, I don't know. I'm mindful wherever I go, but it's important to
Yes.
just remember. And
Mm.
yeah.
All right. Well, glad to have you. How you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good. I feel excited and I feel ready. My work, it's I mean, all of us, it's I tap in. So I'm like always like, okay, what do I need to say? What do I need to do? Which direction? So
Mhm.
there's a part of me that's like, woof, what's gonna happen? There's a sort of anxiousness about it and
Well,
looking
you know
forward
what?
to
Let's
what's
take a
happening.
breath. Let's take a
Yes.
breath. How about that?
Oh, you're gonna call more of them in then. More of
That's
them gonna,
right.
oh, they're taking a breath. Come
All
on.
right.
Oh, I'm taking a breath. Come on, now, physical beings.
All right. Well, let's take a breath and then we can start talking about what's going on in the world. All right. All
Mhm.
right. So I'm asking the rest of y'all to join us. Go ahead and sit up straight. Make room for your belly to expand. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Close your eyes if you want to. And then take in a deep belly breath. And then exhale when you're ready. Let's do that one more time. I want one more. Take in another deep breath. Exhale at your own pace. All right. And then when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. So, Before we came on, we were like chit chatting a little bit about what did we want to talk about all the things that have happened. I mean, so many things have happened. I just finally watched the last January 6th committee hearing a couple days ago, and that was crazy. That I mean, every hearing that I watch is like they reveal worse information than was in the one previous. Um, but there are some other things that I would like to talk about too, because I've been telling everybody that even though we focus on a lot of politics in the US, that, you know, we need to pay attention to what's happening globally. And since you live in the UK, I thought maybe we could talk about what's happening there. Oh, Lueka's here. Hey, Lueka. He says a day the
Oh, right.
percussionist.
Because I was like, how do you know who I am? But then that sort of name. How you doing, my brother? Yes, I remember from Interplay.
Aloha, Lueka. Thank you for coming. So I was thinking that maybe you could help us understand a little bit about the politics that are happening in the UK. Because I know I've heard people say that Boris Johnson, the prime minister over there, is the the UK version of Donald Trump. Um, he seems like a chaos agent.
Yeah, yeah, I like that chaos agent. It's funny because I say that too, but then in this moment, it's like, well, it's a chaos agent, and so first thing I want to say is I'm not an expert in politics over here. What I will
Mm-mm.
say, the way I take in politics, even when I was living in America, well, I think it was slightly different because things are louder in America, right?
Hmm.
Even if you don't have a television, you still hear about it. You in your house, like,
Right.
why am I hearing CNN's breaking news? They just talk about the weather. I know what the breaking news. Breaking news. Wolf, what's his name? Wolf, whatever. I can't remember his
Wolf
name.
Blitzer.
Yes, everything is
Yeah.
breaking news. It's like just stop. But
Right.
it is interesting. Politics. What I want to really, I think, what I really want to start with is reminding us that everything is consciousness.
Hmm.
Everything is consciousness. Everything belongs. Everything's an expression of all of our consciousness, whether we like
Hmm.
it or not, whether we accept it or not. And over here it's similar. Right now he resigned over a lot of different things. And I was going to say that the way I take in politics is like, when you go to the mall and you go through the food court and the people are giving you little cups of the food
The samples.
to
Yeah.
taste it, and then someday you find yourself being hungry, even though you weren't hungry until you got into the food court. I take politics news in like that. Just say, nah, it's okay.
Okay.
So my perspective is coming from there. I didn't order a plate, but
Okay.
he did resign, but he
Hmm.
said he was going to stay on until they find the next person. Now, I don't know what it would be like if he just stepped down. Somebody has to be in the position. And I know there's some of the MPs, member of parliament, who are saying, no, we need you to resign and leave.
Right.
He
Well,
had
that's
a
what I
lot
was
of
thinking. I'm
reasons.
like, either you resigned or you didn't.
Right.
If you're still there, did you really resign?
Right. It's like going to work and saying, I resign, but you're still coming in for the next few months. It's like,
Right.
what are you still doing here? So
Right.
there is a lot of shift happening. A lot of people resigned. But one of the one that I wouldn't say followed, that I heard about was during the pandemic. Of course, all over the world, the government was telling, stay at home, don't go see loved ones, stay at home, keep your parents safe.
Hmm.
But we also know that, I mean, it's a human nature, but these are the people saying this as the law, and they're fining people from going to see family members,
Hmm.
leaving their house. They were having parties,
Hmm.
and he attended the party and denied it and said it
Right.
didn't happen.
It was
And he
worse
just
because you lied
continued.
about it, right?
Yes, and I don't understand it. It really doesn't make it. I mean, some adults are just dumb, to put it nicely. Just dumb. You're the prime minister. You're on TV, and you're lying about something that you know eventually the truth is going to come out.
Hmm.
And he kept lying about that, and then eventually he turned around and admitted it. And I think there's been some other things that happened where somebody, I don't know if it's a cabinet, had something to do with some sexual misconduct,
Yeah, I
and
saw
apparently
that.
they denied that he knew anything about it, and
And then it
eventually
came
get
out.
there. Yes,
Yeah.
and just there's just a whole lot. I mean,
Well,
it's
I read somewhere that when he was trying to shut down the government during the whole Brexit scandal, that the way he did it was not legal. And so people were pissed at him about that. And then I read somewhere else that he was collecting donations to refurbish his apartment or renovate his apartment, and that was illegal. It's like he was just doing a bunch of stuff.
it was, and so it's like, I hear myself wanting to say they're all the same, which really
Hmm.
isn't true. Because there's some politicians who are really being led who are leading from a place, not just heart centeredness, because people are like, what does that mean in politics? But if you don't have a heart in politics, it's just you start lying about things that are obvious.
Hmm.
But from a place of really care about their work.
Hmm.
Um, but when you're in a place of power, and I will even say in the
Oh,
Western world, I'm still here. Are we okay?
yeah, I didn't realize my banner was still going across. Go
Oh, okay.
ahead.
This thing about power, when it's misused, when you hunger for it, you just naturally misuse it. If there's greed, it
Hmm.
doesn't matter what country you're in. I mean, this
Hmm.
country's a bit more quiet. See, America has a louder speaker. So
Hmm.
sometimes, if you go to like a music fest, and there's like everybody's got their own tear, but you be hearing the sound from America, boo, boo, boo. You have to get closer to the other state to hear the music from UK, the music from France. Like,
Yeah.
what are you saying? I can't hear the American music's loud, but and then we get so caught up in what's happening in America. But the truth is, it's similar. It's similar. People in power disconnected from the people, and because
Hmm.
they've been, the West will quickly say African countries are corrupt. The Western leaders are corrupt too.
Hmm.
They write it. They make it legal or illegal. So lobbying is legal, which
Hmm.
give you money to help you further my cause. See,
Right.
in some countries in Africa, they just like, we don't need to write that down. Give me some money, I help you. Just blatant. I don't know
Hmm.
which one I prefer, but it's
Hmm.
it's it's this thing about power and greed,
Hmm.
and without the I think it's the upbringing. These people grew up. I'm generalizing. I know I'm generalizing, but they grew up in parents have been in politics, money,
Hmm.
all the things, all about power. So when they go in, naturally, they're just going to
They
continue what they've learned.
they grew up feeling like they
Go
were the
ahead.
center of the universe and everything that they do is
Yes,
okay. And even if they get in trouble, somebody's going to pay and
exactly.
get them out and they don't have to suffer the consequences. So that's how they lead, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, that's it. And it's good to see that things are changing. The
Hmm.
system is breaking down, and that some conversations I've had. There's so much happening that's actually improving that we just don't hear about. So because we
Right.
don't hear about it, we think nothing is happening. So all the other foolishness that they're doing, some of the things that you and I have talked about, it's just people are fighting. They're fighting to hold on to the
I'm
old.
trying to hold on to their power,
Trying
hold on and keep that
exactly.
imbalance. Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
speaking of that, I'm going to bring it closer to home and talk about something that just happened. Missouri just passed a law that makes it a felony to sleep on state property. So if a homeless person sleeps like under a highway overpass or, under a bridge or in a state park or something like that, they get one warning and then they get arrested and charged with a crime, a $750 fine. Now they're homeless. They don't have the money to pay that
I'm
fine.
hearing that.
And then they get charged with a misdemeanor punishable by up to 15 days in prison. Now, that's pretty extreme for basically loitering. But if they're targeting homeless people, um, that's just outrageous. And there's this thing now. It's like it's cool to target homeless people because I don't know if you've seen. There's video of like the police in New York and the police in LA just like taking, I don't even know what they are. They're not cranes, but taking these like machines and just going into like homeless encampments and just like scooping up all their belongings and throwing them away and either pushing them out or arresting them or something. So they're basically trying to criminalize poverty, criminalize homelessness. And at first I was just like, they're just doing this for sheer meanness. It's like out of sight, out of mind, not in my backyard kind of thing. But then I started thinking about it. And if they're making homelessness a felony, everybody who gets charged with a felony loses their right to vote. And you know how the
Mm,
GOP right now is like huge on voter suppression, and so they're trying to find ways to like clamp down on regular folks. They don't care about homeless people. So if they can take their right to vote, then that's one less person they got to worry about, voting for someone who's going to provide social services.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
was looking at it because I was like, if they're doing this in Missouri, what are they doing elsewhere? Because I know, I was like, I know Texas is going to be like right behind them. And when I looked, they were actually basing this on something that they saw that Texas was doing. And then I saw that
Mm,
in, I think,
mm,
Tennessee, they've already, that the one in Missouri doesn't go into effect until 2023. But in Tennessee, their anti-homelessness, that's what I'm going to call it, their anti-homelessness law went into effect in this month. It went into effect in July. And you know what the penalty is for sleeping on state property in Tennessee? Can you guess? Because I told you for Missouri, it's seven hundred and
yeah,
fifty dollars
yeah.
and 15 days in prison. Guess how long you can go to prison in Tennessee if you are caught
Well,
sleeping on
a
state
month,
property? Hmm?
a month.
6 years.
Oh, oh, I got so many comments going off my head. Well, so you obviously can provide a home for them, but you want to
Yeah.
do it. You wanted them to be in prison.
Oh, let me tell you about the rest of this law. It's not just about taking people off the street and giving them a fine. This law also says that the money that the state or the federal government provides to fight homelessness cannot be used to create permanent housing. It can only be used to create temporary housing for people. So, you know, basically the money that we provide you to solve the problem, you're not allowed to use it for a permanent solution. And then if they are going to create temporary shelter for people, they have to go through like a mental health screening and a substance abuse screening and all this kind of stuff, which goes against what the feds are saying that, if we're going to have this housing first mentality, just make sure people get into a house and don't worry about the rest of it until they get housed. And then, you can provide services, but we're not going to screen people and make them jump through hoops just to have a safe place to live.
Right.
But in these red states now they're talking about um, making people jump through hoops to have a safe place to live, and it's not right. Yep. I don't know who this is that says Facebook user, but they're like taking away even more rights and more sovereignty. Yep.
I mean, I
All
have
right.
so much going on in my head. I don't know if I can form it into a sentence. But the thing is, what I would say is for all of us that are listening that care is something my mentor used to say. It's like we need to change the
Okay,
narrative
this is Manisha.
around. Oh, okay.
I was like, I don't know who the Facebook user is, but she's saying stuff. That's Manisha. Hey, Manisha.
It's like the hypocrisy. But my mentor often say that instead of saying the homeless, to
Mm-hmm.
start saying people without homes. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you say the homeless, it's easy to just think, oh, those people, the
Mm-hmm.
homeless. But people without homes, like if we said, okay, the government is threatening to put people without homes in prison, we're like,
Mm-hmm.
why? It
Mm-hmm.
asks for a different question. It has
I've
to
heard
be
that for
more
a lot of
curious.
things. I've
Yeah.
heard that with a lot of things, and like when people talk about disabled people and people with
Hmm.
disabilities, and
Hmm.
it kind of depends on who you're talking to, because I know people who have disabilities who don't want to be a person with a disability. They say I'm a disabled person.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
I
kind
mean,
of goes, yeah.
well, and I think it's like the whole thing of you saying the
Mhm.
disabled. It's
Mhm.
like because it forms an image in our minds, and it's like this sense of othering that has
Mhm.
become a way of
Yeah.
being. That it comes a way, we're disconnected. We dehumanize
Mhm.
one another.
Mhm.
We see someone as less than. The crazy thing about it, some of the people who are homeless are veterans, right?
A lot of the people who are homeless are
Right.
veterans and
And
have substance abuse issues and have mental
right,
health issues because of their service.
right. And
Mhm.
when they were there, they were saying, support the troops.
You're right.
Support
Right.
the
Thank you for
troops.
your service.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your
Mhm.
service. But when they come back with effects of the war, now
Mhm.
they're throwaway.
Right.
They're throwaway. And it's
Yeah, now,
like we're
now they're a
always
criminal
looking
because
at the
they're
poor.
because they're
Yeah,
unhoused.
right.
Mhm.
It's yeah. I have so much. I really thought I'd be able to form a real something sensible to say, but I have a lot going on in my head right now.
Well,
Because one, at the same time, I see that it is not sustainable, and the work
mm-mm.
that we're doing here, it's definitely needs more attention as
Right.
opposed to more what they're doing. We recognize what's been happening, and then we get
Mhm.
to say what is mine to do. And I think that's another reason why it's just like, okay,
Right.
you guys are crumbling anyway. You're holding on to something that's dying. You're holding on
Mhm.
to the old. It's
Mhm.
all crumbling. It's
It
all
is.
crumbling.
And I think it's important for us to be aware though, because right now it's crumbling and they still have so much power to harm so many people until it's done. And so I think it's important to
And
be aware of what they're
and
doing.
we do too.
Right. I
So
didn't say
we
we don't have power. I said
right,
right now they have power and we need to be aware of what they're doing as we're creating change. We don't know
yes,
we need to know what they're doing so we know specifically how to react,
of course,
you know?
of
Yeah.
course, of
Mhm.
course. It's like awareness, isn't it? It's like you
Yeah.
can't heal something without the awareness.
Exactly.
Awareness is the
Exactly.
first step to healing it. And what
Mhm.
I'm saying is that we must also recognize that we have just as much power, even
Oh, we
more from
do.
powerful, more than just the external power,
Oh
like
yeah.
our presence, which is part of what I'm going to talk about today, anyway. But
Well, I was going to
yeah,
say that is why this group was even created because everybody was so wrapped up in all the bad things that were going on and feeling so bad. And I'm like, wait a minute, we gotta shift that. We have to get in our bodies and shift how we're feeling so that we're not starting off the week feeling bad and powerless. Let's get in our bodies and make sure that we're setting intentions and owning our power so we can go out, in the week and do some good, not just for ourselves, but for other people. So yeah, that was the whole reason this group was even created. So yeah. All right, nice segue. Nice
yeah.
segue. So, do you want to talk about what you're gonna do for us tonight? I think you're gonna drum. Are you gonna drum for us?
I am going to drum because we need to call those ancestors, our ancestors. We need to call them to us, bring them closer. Really, they're really
Mhm.
close. The
Mhm.
drumming just kind of, how do I like to say, clears the energy and opens us
Mhm.
up to recognize and feel that they're present with us because it's about getting rooted. So I call
Mhm.
this conversation today Restory to Restore. Changing the stories that we're holding, telling a new story so we can restore ourselves to keep moving on and keep doing what we need to do to just let the Jenga fall because it's falling.
Awesome. So before you get started, I just want to let
Mhm.
everybody know that you have an event coming up. You've got a grief ritual
Yes.
that you have coming up. You want to say
Mhm.
something about that before you do your meditation?
Yes, I do actually. Thank you. Because by the time I finish, I might forget. Because
Right.
so that's good. Well, so I have a grief ritual coming up Saturday, July 23rd. So about roughly about a week from today. It's what's it? I think it's 12. Yeah, 12, 3 p.m. Eastern. The idea is we come together. So all that we're talking about, we cannot hear this kind of conversation and a part of us not feel like, oh my God, this is too much. There is a lot going on that we're carrying,
Mhm.
and not just what is going on from the political front, but the fact that we're going through and growing the pandemic. It's not
Mhm.
really over
No.
because energetically we're still redefine ourselves. Things are becoming more expensive. So
Mhm.
loss that we're dealing with people that we care about, maybe a business, a job, the way things used to be, and we were so used to it. And there's some other things that we need to grieve that's been passed on to us from our ancestors. We sometimes don't want to go because it seems so heavy, and we
Mhm.
say, well, I don't like to be negative. Well, if you don't embrace the negative and the positive, you can't have the choice forward. So
Mhm.
it's creating a space for us to honor what wants to be seen, and grieve together in unity so that we can make room. And grieving is really an act of love. It helps us recognize our humanity. It helps us,
Mhm.
it affirms who we are. And you can't, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that. It's like if you really want to be whole and you're not grieving, I don't know how you're doing it. You might want to tell me. But grieving is part of what makes us whole. It's
Mhm.
honoring our human self. So this
Mhm.
is going to be on a Saturday. It's 2 hours and it's virtual, and just a space for people to make room for something that they didn't even know was lurking in their hearts and mind, and that we can all grow together. And as we grieve together, we can make room for new ideas, new possibilities,
Mhm.
new thoughts, new ways of being, really challenging ourselves to be so much more and show up. And we show up powerfully.
Mhm.
So yeah, ritual is important. And I would say if the people that listen today saying, yes, I want to be a part of that, but somehow you don't make it, I want you to be there. I would like you to be there. But if for whatever reason you don't make it, find a way to get a circle. I have audio, um, what am I trying to say? A recorded version of it.
Mhm.
I could send you where to get that. I don't have it online yet, but I will. But it's necessary as part of our
Mhm.
spiritual practice to
And if you
grieve
want
the
to
whole.
register, if you want to
Yes,
register, the link is on the screen is
and
bit.ly/ancestral healing one. And if you type that into your browser, it'll take you straight to the registration.
and for those who are not looking at the screen, who are doing the dishes or cooking or doing something else and listening, it's that's bit.ly/ancestral healing the number one, the number one.
Okay.
Yes.
Whew. All
Mm,
right. Yep. Cynthia's saying grieving is so important.
yes.
All right.
Yes.
And now I am going to turn this over to you. I'm going to take myself off screen. And when you're done, just tell everybody good night. And
So you're not gonna
and then
come back and give me a
I'm not
hug
gonna
and say good night?
not tonight.
You're
Nope.
not gonna read me a bedtime story? It's 1:30.
All right. So I am gonna turn it over to you and I look forward to your drumming and getting all mellow and everything for tonight.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Cecile. Thank you for having me. Let's just take a deep breath. I know you know. I'm just echoing what you already know before I set up for my drumming here. Taking a deep breath reboots your system, reboots your nervous system. And as Cecile mentioned, I'm an intuitive healer, mindset coach, sacred drummer, and a podcaster. My work really is rooted in. I can take this off now. And we're having a heat wave here in UK, even though it is about 1:30 a.m. I am hot. Maybe it's not the temperature. Maybe it's this room that's doing it. But anyway, yeah. So it's rooted in strengthening our sense of belonging. It's helping us honor who we are as we are. That's very important, and and creating space for us to love in a new way, to love beyond what we thought is possible. Because the bottom line is, when you narrow it down, the answer is love. And not just this intellectual love. It's like, well, I just want to focus on love. I tend to do that because sometimes people do what I call spiritual bypassing. Well, just got to love one another. Yes, but that love is action. Loving when it's hard to love. Loving yourself even when your mind chatter is just going like, you messed up. You should have done that differently. So, yep, I get that. And I still love and appreciate myself. I often hear people say, when it comes to forgiveness, it's easy for me to forgive others. I can forgive others quicker than I can forgive myself. Okay, great. Well, make yourself the other, because that's an act of love. And without love, the roots, they can wither and die. We need our roots to be strong. We need our roots to be strong and go deep, 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 because we are in a time where we're dying to the old and we are birthing the new. So we're dying and birthing at the same time. We're in the middle of it. The past, the future is happening right here. So I am going to play the drum for a few minutes. Now I also want to share something that I heard today. I attended an event, an interplay storytelling event, and someone shared one of those, the yogi tea. They have this little nice quotes on there. And while she was drinking the tea during the session, the quote said, "Their heart sees deeper than their eyes. The heart sees deeper than the eyes." So I want to invite you to tune into your heart as you pay attention to what your eyes is doing and feeling. Pay attention to your heart. You may even want to put your hands on your heart area and just breathe in and breathe out as you listen to the drum. You may want to move. You may want to dance. You may want to shake. You may want to lay down. Let the drum take you to a place that you've never been before, but that place that's been calling you, waiting for you to show up. Now, I want to move my microphone. I don't know what my sound is like. I'm going to move my microphone lower because, as I said, it's 1 a.m. Well, 1:37 a.m. now, and I don't want to wake up my neighbors. So here we go. Myla said. While I'm into the rhythm, I feel the release of some stress. Thank you. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. So, take a moment to just sink into what you felt. Amplify it, multiply it if you need to. Send the signal, whatever signal you need to send to your body to remember what you felt, with the assumption that it felt really good. If it did feel really good, we need to talk. I don't know how that happened. But if it didn't, that's fine too. But if it activated the joyful feeling, have something, a word, a painting, a drawing that you just to remind you to always go back there. And even if you feel like, well, I don't have a drum, I always have a drum. Well, actually, let me show you my sound therapist. Those, because I was going to do this earlier. It's a djembe drum, and yeah, she takes me there. She takes me there. So yeah, even if you don't have a drum, there's YouTube. You can always Google African drumming or whatever drumming works for you. So today we are talking about stories, and we're going to do a meditation, and we need to move it along because I can't even believe that's the time. So I'm actually going to cut short what I wanted to talk about. But what I want to say is stories, re-story to restore. There's stories that we tell ourselves. The stories that we identify with. There's stories that we would die for. There's stories that we run from. And how we live, how the quality of our relationships, how we present ourselves to the world is mostly influenced by the stories we agree with or disagree with. And the stories can be changed. And sometimes it is important to just ask ourselves, do I still need this story? Or is it time to tell a new story? Because that's very important. And we are in a place and a time where it's important to tell a new story. To become, as Cecile was sharing earlier, to become aware to what is happening. However, remembering who and what we are. That's the power that is taking down the broken system. There's too much foolishness going on, and we must remember that there is a balance. There is a power that is beyond the power that actually pulls together, that harmonizes. And how we tap into that is remembering who we are. My work is rooted in ancestral work. Actually, I don't know if I can do this actually. Maybe I can, I don't know. It's on StreamYard, so I may not be able to do this right now. I don't even want to figure it out. But there's a graphic that I usually show people to just give an idea of the people who came before you. So I'm going to try and do it in a way that you can grasp it. So I'll move slow. So when you think of yourself, for you to be here today, you needed your mother and your father, right? For you to be here, your mother and your father came together. Your mother and your father came together because of their mothers and their fathers. Your grandparents, right? And then there's a great grandparent. Actually, let me see. No, I'm not on my account. I keep thinking I'm on my account because that image, thank you. That image is very powerful. I don't know, Cecile, do you have that ancestral thing? If you do, you may know where to post it, but if not, don't worry about it. So you have your grandparents, your great grandparents, your great grandparents. If you go back 12, the graphic that I just thought of now, if you go back 12 generations, 4,096 people came together for you to be alive today. Just 12 generations. 4,096. Now, We can keep going back and going back and going back, and the numbers keep growing, and it keeps growing, and it keeps growing. Where you're going to end up? Infinity. We say God, the divine, the universe, source energy, whatever name you call it. Maybe you don't even call it anything. The no thing that is everything. We say it's the infinite. So your ancestors, if you keep multiplying, where you going to end up? Infinite. You're gonna. There is no numbers to be able to count, to be able to have a precise number of people who came together for you to be here today. So imagine their stories, the languages they spoke, where they lived, how they lived, what they believed in, what they disagreed with, the vision that they had, the dreams, the goals, the challenges, the injustice, the disease that they went through. And some of those stories are passed on energetically. Some of the things that we're dealing with today is because it was passed on and hasn't been grieved. You hear a story that, part of what African American feels when it comes to the relationship with a police officer, it's in the DNA because of the experience of the past. The experience of the past, Africans who were enslaved and how they were treated. But here's the thing: if people who were traumatized, abused, mistreated, if that experience is in their DNA, so the people who were mistreated, abusing, that way of being lives in their DNA as well. Now, this requires being able to just be an observer of this story instead of making judgments right now. So you can see what I'm trying to say. Is recognizing that those people who thought it was perfect and right and just to hang another human being, to lynch another human being, that energy lives in them and it was passed on to their next generation. It was passed on. It was passed on. And there are people who are carrying that energetic imprint. So much so they cannot understand when you talk about anti-black racism. They're like, what are you talking about? Because something in them doesn't want to look. We all want to feel like we're good and better than the ones who came before us. But we're carrying so much from our ancestors. So we can tell a new story. We tell a new story by grieving. We tell a new story by being honest and recognizing some of the things that I've done, me, you, us, that we've done in the past. There's some things we regret. We may have done some forgiveness work, but if we have done some things that we regret, some of our ancestors did some things that they didn't think to forgive themselves, and they passed that on. We are the next line. We're the next ones in line for the healing. So this work, when you call yourself a social activist or a sacred activist, you're healing the past and the present. And self-care is necessary. Spiritual work is necessary because you are allowing yourself to become aware to some of the things that were once unconscious. Because the more aware you become, the more you're aware of. Let's take a deep breath. See if there's anything else that I had here that I want to highlight. So we are focusing on who and what we are. We are focusing on our roots. And tonight, you have an opportunity to heal your ancestors, the one who may have done some things that you're ashamed of, the ones who did some things they did it but didn't even know it was wrong because society did that. Sometimes people want to say, well, I don't want to connect with some of my ancestors who did horrible things. Well, if we don't connect with them, who's going to heal that energy? That energy will keep showing up in different ways from one generation to another until it's healed. Life is about balance. Life is always seeking balance. So there's got to be someone in a family. There's got to be someone in the world, in society, in our country, in our town, who's willing to do the healing work. It's not easy. That's why we do it in the community. Okay, let's take a deep breath. And I'm going to make some assumptions, even though in the four agreements it says don't make assumptions. I'm not making assumptions. I'm declaring what I know to be true. That you're in a place where it's quiet. Feel free to close your eyes if that's comfortable. Feel free to close one eye and open another one if you don't feel comfortable closing both eyes. And or just kind of just think, let your eyelids just go to rest, like just come down. You may look down. And I want you to allow yourself to surrender, surrender to love. And I want to invite you to think of unconditional love, love without conditions, the love that loves just for the sake of loving. It doesn't care what happened, what didn't happen. And oftentimes, we can recognize this through somebody who loves us, somebody who loves us unconditionally. They just love who we are, not because of what we did for them or didn't do for them, or we were always given a gift. They just love who you are. You might want to call them to this space energetically. Maybe it's a pet that you love so dearly, whether the pet is in the physical body or not. I want to bring their presence. The love that loves just for the sake of loving. And as you allow yourself to rest in love, as you allow yourself to surrender to love, I want you to be open to the idea that love is not blind. Blind love cannot love. Love loves because its eyes are wide open. And it welcomes everything. The stories of injustice, the stories of shame, the stories of doubt, the stories of joy, of celebration, of achievement. Love tells you, bring it all. Just bring it all to me. So in this place, I want you to just allow yourself to be open, to be present, to be aware. And whatever shows up, just let it be. You don't need to judge it. You don't need to label it. And even if you do label it, even if you do judge it, love yourself anyway. And as you love yourself, you bring yourself back to yourself. You tap into that harmonizing energy. So I just want you to take a moment to sit with that love. And even if you say, nobody has ever loved me unconditionally, that's something I've always wanted, something I wish, well, you know what that feels like. You may not have experienced it from another. There's an inner knowing that knows what it's like to be loved with all your flaws. Invite that. There is nothing passive about love. And right now, I want you to go to an earlier time in your life. Maybe when you were a child. Age 4 comes up for me. Maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7. Maybe a teenager. A time when you just had no care in the world. You were just being you. You were just having fun. You were just living. Don't overanalyze. Let the moment reveal itself. Maybe when you were an infant, and even if you can't capture a moment in your mind, open up to the possibility that there was a time in your life, a moment in your life, where you felt peaceful, where you were loved, even if it was just for a moment. Allow yourself to sink into that. Call in that energy, that frequency, that vibration, that memory, calling it up. A moment in your life where you felt safe. And even if you're struggling to find that, to remember that, just take a deep breath, because we're going deeper. Now I want you to think of yourself as an infant. Who were you when you were an infant? How were you? How were you showing up? You're dropping in, dropping down beyond the conscious mind. Here's another question. Who were you before you were born? You're going down, you're grounding yourself, going deep down into the roots. Who were you before you even had a name? In that stage, there was a power, there's a presence, there's a vulnerability in you. We often hear when they say children are closer to God than adults. So you were closer to God, what we call the divine, the universe. And allow yourself to just rest in that. If the labels that I use, like God, doesn't work for you, don't resist it. Just let it go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what I'm saying. Just have your experience. Substitute it with what works for you. Because this God thing is a relationship. Who were you when you were in your mother's womb? What was passed on to you from your ancestors? What power, what vision was passed on to you? You don't have to search for the answer. The question is enough. Because we are giving ourselves the opportunity to tell a new story. Imagine being a nobody, just a being, a spiritual being that is here to represent the divine on its way onto this earth with gifts, talents, skills, wisdom, information from the past, secrets to deliver in today. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to recover and discover a new story about you. Even if it feels weird or strange, allow it. No judgment when you bring in that with you right now. You're collecting the gem that is you. Now, I want you to reverse that journey. Imagine yourself being back in your mother's womb, remembering while you're coming on this planet what is yours to do. Feeling a sense of joy, passionate to reveal your gifts, your talent. We are restoring to restore. Imagine yourself coming out of the womb, remembering who you are, knowing what you are. Going through the stages, age, going through the birthdays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, remembering, allowing yourself to make space in your mind that you remember the gift that you're bringing while you are so unique. You've retrieved a secret from your ancestors, a unique gift. And you know you have that gift. You know you have that talent. That's why you're doing this work. Take a moment to feel the gifts, the talents, the secret that was passed on to you in this present moment. Allow yourself to get curious about what you're going to discover about yourself now. Imagine going into a store and you bought a new outfit. And in the changing room, there are no mirrors. You have to come out. So you're wearing it. It looks like it feels good. Now you're getting ready to step into the mirror of your own mind, of your own heart, of your own consciousness. Take a deep breath. You gave yourself a chance to restore your life, to come up with a new story, to tell a new story. And not only are you restored, you've rebooted your system. So where you feel powerless in the past, now you feel powerful. Where you felt discouraged, you're optimistic. Where you felt sad, you feel rejuvenated. And where there was once anxiety, you're recognizing peace. And as you recognize it and allow yourself to just lean into it, you become peaceful. Take a moment to be with all that's coming up for you. The new awareness, the new insight, the new story. Everything is consciousness. And as you shift your consciousness, you shift your reality. As you move forward to do this work, you do it from a place of power. And your presence start to shift your environment. Whenever you're ready, you don't have to, because I want to read something. To you. But if you're ready to open your eyes, maybe even journal because something came up. This is a place you can always go back to. That you've rediscovered the secret that you've been given to bring healing to not just people that you love and care about, but to bring healing also to the political leaders who have forgotten who they are, who are leading from a place of separation. You know that this secret elixir that you bring is for all. And they may just cause them to resign because they want to spend more time with their family. So I want to read something to you as you get ready to move forward in the work, redefining your reality, letting go of the stories. As my sister constantly reminds us, one of her pillars, undoing the illusion, doing the facts inaccurate. And this quote, I found it online about 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to wear it out. When I was a young man, we can substitute that to be a woman. So if you feel like substituting it, or you're not even going for that, no, not man, just do whatever works for you. Let's just keep it simple. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world. So I tried to change my nation. When I found I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change the town. And as an older man, I tried to change my family. Now, as an old man, I realized the only thing I can change is myself. And suddenly, I realized that if long ago I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. My family and I could have made an impact on our town. Their impact could have changed the nation, and I could indeed have changed the world. This is credited to an unknown monk. That's what they said. So no name. 1100 AD. This work brings us to a place to change the world as we focus on those who are close to us. We can change the world by changing our family members, even the ones that don't agree with us, because we're coming from a place of love. We're honoring them and we're allowing them to have their experience, because we all have our own individual unique secrets that they're bringing. We don't have to agree with it, but we know we have enough power oozing through us to shift the foolishness, to shift injustice, to shift oppression. So we wake up every day feeling powerful. peaceful, because we remember our gifts, our talents, the skills, the wisdom that was passed on to us. The roots are deep. So if you see a tree that's so tall, scientists tell us that the roots go at basically equivalent to what you can see above. And there's the statement, as above, so below. So we become the giant tree. We shall not be moved, but we activate change. Thank you for your time. Um, I noticed I don't know what the time frame is, but I just noticed all the other meditation that I've seen so far didn't go over an hour. I mean, the meditation wasn't an hour, but thank you for staying there longer. I know the last two or three were less than an hour. So thank you for being here longer. Thank you for showing up. And I just want to remind you that what we just did now is bringing so much healing to ourselves, into the world, to our countries, to our society in ways that cannot be defined in words, in reaching people without homes, those who are oppressed. And we must continue to learn. We must challenge ourselves, because sometimes it can be kind of easy to want to hide the gifts because we don't want to stand out. The only way to fit in is to stand out. If you're trying to fit in without trying to stand out, it may not be pretty. Stand out. Share your gift. Speak up. Challenge. But don't go without love. Because love's eyes is wide open, never blind. It heals and harmonizes. And I thank you so much for being here. I'm grateful to my dear sister Cecile allowing me to share this space. It is an honor. And I'm sure we'll see each other real soon. And once again, if you are available this Saturday, July 23rd, yes, you see, once you click the link, it's bit.ly/ancestral healing one, ancestral healing number one, bit.ly is on the screen /ancestral healing.com. We're birthing a new reality. We're birthing a new world. That's why it feels heavy sometimes and painful sometimes, overwhelming sometimes. We just breathe and push. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. Let's go forth and multiply this consciousness. We got this. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We must always remember self-care is important. Take a breath, relax, let go, and start over. Thank you very much. So, my dear sister, you said I just leave, right? Yeah, there we go. See you next time.